What's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. We have so much to talk about today, so we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go ahead and get into the video because we have the Mets game to talk about. The Astros have finally been dethroned. And then also, do you remember this player? This guy's name was Billy Butler. There is now a Billy Butler Jr., but a little bit bigger. So if you guys want to see that, sit tight. And without further ado, let's start talking baseball. My jaw dropped to the floor when I was doing my script last night because I saw on Twitter about 2 hours before I was doing my script that Jacob deGrom had 14 strikeouts. So I just assumed that he won that game. Jacob deGrom lost that game. Jacob deGrom struck out 14 and was mad at himself and said that he lost that game because he is supposed to throw out zeros. You gotta love this guy. He is honestly the best pitcher in baseball. I would say that Garrett Cole and Shane Bieber might be in the same bubble, but I think Jacob deGrom right now still takes the cake as the best pitcher in baseball. But you do have to give some credit to the Tampa Bay Rays. They were able to really fight and claw their way to a 2-1 victory. Nate Lowe hits another home run, and that's the difference right there. 2-1 victory, and the Mets fall to 3 games back of the 8th spot. And there's only 6 games left in the season, so if anyone really needs the help of the baseball gods, it's the New York Mets.
Is chopped slowly toward third. That's tough play. Anderson can't make it. Baseman. Runner goes. Ground ball up the middle. Birdie can't knock it down. A run is down the right field line. It's a base hit. Game time. Jump Acuna. And he launches one down the left field line. That's a fair ball. That's headed for the corner.
Braves offense, as well as the bullpen, I do want to give them some credit as well. They do just enough to beat the Marlins yesterday. Now, the Marlins do end up getting lucky because the Phillies, kind of their division rival, the team that is competing for the second spot right now, they lost as well. So the Phillies were playing the Nationals yesterday in Washington, D.C. I'm so bummed that fans are not in the stadium because Bryce Harper was going back to his former home in Washington, D.C. The Phillies lose after some pretty sloppy defense. They commit 3 errors. They get a 5-1 loss against their division rivals. So because the Mets as well as the Marlins lost, nothing changed in the NL East or the wild card spots. Or maybe. We'll talk about the Cardinals game in just a second because they're in the thick of things as well. Speaking of the Phillies, I would say the one player that really got away that the Phillies could have really used this year was Maikel Franco. He could have been a DH for them, especially considering Rhys Hoskins and JT Realmuto might lose some time the last week of the season, and the Phillies actually have one of the hardest schedules going forward. About 6 or 7 games left. It does not get easy. I think they face the Twins, a bunch of tough teams. Yesterday, Maikel Franco drove in his 32nd and 33rd RBI as Josh Staumont and the bullpen, they squished the Cardinals. So we talked about all the teams that lost in that division. We have the Marlins that lost, the Mets lost, the Phillies lost, as well as the Cardinals. So really the only team that can benefit going forward is the Reds, because just like every other team I just mentioned, they're all in the thick of things, and it's going to take the last week to figure out who is the cream of the crop from the last 3 or 4 teams that have a chance to make it. Jon Lester turned into 2016 Jon Lester, at least for one start. He's been pretty good the last 2 times that he's been out there. He tosses 6 shutout innings. Now he only strikes out 1 hitter, so he wasn't very 2016 Lester in that regard. But Javier Baez and Kyle Schwarber, they drive in a few runs. I do also want to note that they both have not been great this year. Sure, they've driven in a fair share of their runs, considering Javier Baez is barely hitting 200 and Kyle Schwarber is under the Mendoza line. He's hitting 186 or something like that. Just a really weird year for Cubs in their offense because it's being carried by Jason Hayward and David Bodie. I never would have guessed that. So I can't forget to mention Ian Happ. That guy's been a stud all year. So in the intro, I brought up Billy Butler. You guys know that Big Country was once upon a time one of the best hitters in the American League. And then unfortunately, Father Time and everything took its place. He's been out the game for quite some time. Well, Alejandro Kirk seems to be Billy Butler Jr., but the junior part doesn't make sense because he's even bigger. He became the first catcher since I think 1991 that was 21 years or younger. The last catcher that did this was Pudge Rodriguez, a Hall of Famer, to get 4 base hits in a single game as a 21-year-old catcher. I thought that was really awesome. I wanted to show you guys. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets in on the action as well. The Yankees lose their 2nd consecutive game after I stopped posting this Good Luck Gary picture. So do I have to bring it back before the postseason? I might have to.
In the air, left center field. That bad boy is gone.
And pitch. And Moustakas drives one. Deep right field. Peterson back at the wall. Gone. Into the Charmin Bears glove.
Luis Castillo finally got some run support from the Reds. A couple videos ago, we talked about him and his teammate TJ Antone were two of the top starting pitchers, actually I should say worst in terms of run support. They were getting less than 3 runs a game, which is completely awful. But he rewards them yesterday with a 6 2/3 innings gem, 1 earned run and 9 strikeouts. Amir Garrett, this guy is insane. He was calling himself a bad mother effer and then striking out people. He's just so much fun to watch. The Reds, they escape with a 6-3 victory. They are now tied for 2nd place with the St. Louis Cardinals. So not only do you have to worry about the 7th and the 8th spot in the National League, but you have to worry about who's going to be in the 2nd spot in a couple different divisions. Is it going to be the Marlins? Is it going to be the Phillies? Is it going to be the Reds? Is it going to be the Cardinals? Wow. The Indians are so close to clinching a playoff spot, and J-Ram, Jose Ramirez, he's got to be one of the main reasons why. He kickstarts the game yesterday versus the division rival White Sox. This was a massive game. He hits a home run, and then Cesar Hernandez and Carlos Santana, they kind of close the door. I am going to never say anything about Brad Hand because the more I talk about him, the more I feel like I'm going to jinx him. So he was like 2017 Brad Hand. That's all I'm going to say. So the Indians, they might have 2 MVPs on their team. Jose Ramirez is leading everyone in WAR in the American League, and Shane Bieber, I mean, he's leading pitchers in WAR. So it's kind of nice to be an Indians fan, but on the flip side, not so much because the White Sox and the Twins are still a thing, and they're really good. Max Stassi drove in 2 runs yesterday, and he is going to be the player of the game for the Wait, who? Hold on, just breaking news. Oh, we have a different player of the game. I called it. Jared Walsh.
Third base, Stassi lines one out toward left field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Ohtani will score. Upton's being waved home to throw to the plate. 3-1, drilled out to straightaway center field. Tavares going back. That one is gone. Grand salami time for Jared Walsh. Halos have opened it up here in the 4th. Those numbers, power numbers.
If anyone would have listened to me 2 weeks ago when I told you to pick up Jared Walsh, I might be the reason why some of you are taking home a fantasy baseball crown, because in the last 2 weeks, he has by far been the hottest hitter along with Jose Ramirez in all of baseball. He's up to 8 home runs, 23 RBIs, and a 1035 OPS. If he can hit like this in 2021, the Angels might be making some noise in the AL West as long as they pick up a few pitchers and a few bullpen guys as well. The last 2 games that I want to talk about, we have the Giants at the Rockies. This one was all Rockies. I want you guys to just sit tight and enjoy the highlights. So with this loss, the Giants are now in the 10th spot. Now it sounds worse than what it is because the 10th spot is really only 2 or 3 games back of the 8th spot, which secures you a playoff spot. So if the Giants win out, they're going to make it. If the Reds don't play as well, or any of the other team that is vying for an 8th spot or a 2nd spot in their division, it could come down to the wire. So with 6 to 7 games left on the season, again, do not be afraid to hit that subscribe button because this is the best place to stay up to date. And then last but not least, the Astros faced the Mariners yesterday. The Mariners get a pretty nice 6-1 win. The reason why it was so nice was not only because Marcus Gonzalez showed that he is well worth that contract that they gave him, going 8 innings, 0 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts versus a pretty stacked Astros lineup, but they knocked the Astros out of contention in terms of winning the American League West crown. They've won it the last couple years, I think since 2015 or 16, they have come in 1st place. They have been dethroned. The A's have won the AL West crown. There's kind of a little other side to it because it took the Astros losing Garrett Cole in free agency, Justin Verlander to injury, as well as Yordan Alvarez. So it's still a good win for the Mariners and a good day for AL West fans, but it took a lot to get there. All right, everyone, well, that is going to do it for today's MLB recap. Let me know in the comment section down below which team do you... Grady is going nuts back there. I know you guys like Grady content. But let me know what was your favorite part of the video. Stay safe out there and enjoy this day in MLB history. I'm working, Grady. Stop it.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Swung on, hit deep to left. That one is way back, way back, way back. Well, that's goodbye. Number 600 for Willie Mays. And the Giants come to home plate to greet him. Number 600 for Mays.